Welcome back, travelers. In today's video, we are going to give you some updates about the Schengen region and ETIAS and how these could affect your European travel adventures for 2025 and 2026. We're going to break down that Schengen area for you a little bit because a couple of countries were added to it this year. We're also going to go over the postponement of ETIAS, and we're going to go over the ETA system for the UK. We're also going to cover a couple of things, like what if you have dual citizenship to one of the EU countries or the UK countries, or you are a US permanent resident and you have a passport to one of these countries, and clarify that for you today. So let's get started. As of 2025, there are 44 sovereign countries geographically and politically considered Europe. There are 27 members of the European countries. There are 29 Schengen countries, some of which are in the EU and some which are not, because there are some countries that have territories that are part of Europe and part of Asia. As of this date in 2025, there are 29 countries that are part of the Schengen region. Some of these countries are in Europe. There are some that are also in Asia or on the border of Asia and Europe. And there are some countries that are not considered part of the EU that are also part of the Schengen region. There are also some countries in Europe that are not part of the Schengen region. If you are traveling to any of these countries in the Schengen region and you are not from one of those countries in the Schengen region, you will need an ETIAS to get into those countries. However, that doesn't start now until 2026. It was scheduled to be starting here in May of 2025, but they had to postpone it. Part of that is because there's another system that they have to get in place first, which is the EES, the Entry Exit System. They have to get that in place first, and then they will be able to implement ETIAS for everyone else. So if you're new to travel and you don't even know what an ETIAS is, let's just kind of go over that first. ETIAS stands for European Travel Information and Authorization System. It's a system that they're putting in place that's considered a visa waiver, not a visa, that you will pay $7 for and apply for that. And that'll be good for 3 years or until your passport expires. So for example, if you have 2 years left on your passport and you apply for ETIAS, it'll be good for 2 years because your passport will expire. You'll have to get a new passport with a new passport number, and you're going to have to go ahead and reapply for the ETIAS. Now, it's supposedly not going to take very long, just a few minutes for you to be able to get that. So it's not something where you're going to have to apply and wait for months to get it. Supposedly it's going to be very quick and inexpensive. It's very much like the system the United States uses for visitors to come in over here, but it's just a way for them to be able to track when you're in these Schengen regions, passing through multiple borders, that they just know that you've kind of been cleared and can track kind of where you're going and things like that. So the ETIAS is something, again, if you're one of the Schengen region countries and you're traveling within those Schengen region countries, you do not need it. It will be for people who do not live in those areas, like maybe someone from the UK, the US, Canada. They will apply for the ETIAS and allow them to move freely like the people who live in the Schengen region. And that EES system is what's going to help track things so they can make sure they know where you are, and if something happens and things like that, that they will be able to get a hold of you and know where you've been. All right, let's talk about the ETA, or the Electronic Travel Authorization, which is being implemented by the UK countries. Travelers from these European countries and the US and Canada will all have to apply for an ETA to enter into the UK. The ETA is $10 and it will last you for 2 years or until your passport expires. It'll allow you to move freely within the UK countries, very much like the ETIAS for Schengen. It is what they're using for the UK, and that's implemented right now. So if you're going to be going into the UK this year, or you're planning on going this year, you need to apply for that. Again, it shouldn't take too long to get that, and you should be able to have that very quickly to get on your travel adventures into the UK. All right, let's talk dual citizenship, shall we? Let's just say, for example, you are an Italian citizen and you also hold a US passport. Well, then you do not need to have an ETIAS to go into the Schengen region. If you use your Italian passport, you may need an ETA, but you just need to check on that. Things are changing a little bit, But it could be that you will not need it, but you just need to check with the UK and the ETA to see if it's something that you're going to need. Now, if you're dual citizenships of the United States and of the UK, of course, your UK passport is going to allow you to move freely through the UK ETA zone. If you are a U.S. permanent resident and you have a passport to an EU or UK country, you should use those passports to get you in and out and allow you to travel freely through those regions. Your green card doesn't impact that at all. That's just for the United States. It's just you want to make sure you're using your passport appropriately when you're going in to the UK or the EU to allow you to move freely and allow you to extend your stays if you need to. Now, if you are a U.S. green card holder, but you also hold a passport to a non-UK or Schengen region country, you may need to apply for an ETIAS to get into these countries. Things are shifting around a little bit, so we're not 100% sure, but just check back. But right now, it looks like you will need to apply for an ETIAS in 2026 if you're holding a passport to a non-Schengen or EU country region. So to sum it up, it really kind of depends on which passports you're using, which countries you have a passport to. So I will leave a link in the video description to the ETA and the ETIAS system so you can take a look. It's going to give you the most up-to-date information and be the best guide for you to know when or if you need to apply for an ETIAS or an ETA. Well, if you've made it this far in the video, I hope it means you liked it and got some great information. So do me a favor, share it, like, subscribe. I put out a video just about every week. Until the next time, remember to juice life, drink the joy, keep life simple. Get that ETA ready for this year's travel to the UK. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.